Good afternoon to everyone. For those ones who know me from yesterday, you have to accept that you cannot get rid of me. For the people who don't know me, my name is Dan Toma, and I'm one of the moderators of the session about environment, health, and climate changes. And I have the honor to invite in front of you the keynote speaker of this session, who is Mirela Alina Sandu, and she will have a presentation about Plate to Planet, Feeding the Future. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Dan, for your introduction. Okay. So hello, everyone. I'm here today to present you one of the biggest challenge our world today. So I will speak about food waste. My today presentation is just a tiny part from an Erasmus project, an Erasmus called Zero Waste Education of Z Generation of European Citizen. It's an international project between 5 partners from Croatia, Estonia, Serbia, Romania, and Italy. If you want to find more about our project, you can scan the QR code, or maybe later. So what is our approach? We want to improve the knowledge of citizens in the food waste sector across the European Union, upskill young people using an innovative approach regarding the food waste management, and provide a new assessment tool via a hub, on a web platform. But why food waste is such important? No? It's really a big problem. Let's see first a picture of food waste in number. So imagine that you go in a supermarket and you buy 3 full bags, shopping bags of food, and immediately after this you throw away one of them. This is what is happening with our food today. 1/3 of all food produced is lost every year. But where is it happening, this loss, this food waste? This food waste is happening in our life, in our day life. 1% of the world food is thrown away. This means 1.3 billion tons of food waste. And if we translate this amount in money, well, it's about approximately $1 trillion. Almost half of the fruits and vegetables, they are waste. About 45%. 55% it's fish and seafood. 30% are cereals. 20% it's meat. So globally, around 8% of the food is lost in the production, in farms. 14% of food produced is lost between farm gate and retail sector, while an estimate 17% is lost at retail, food service, and in our private homes, in our houses. But from this last percent, from from 17. So we hear there are two words, food loss versus food waste. Let's see what is food loss and food waste. Food waste looks at, at what it lost during the production or in the food supply chain before food reached the retailers. I mean, the cultivation, the harvest, a primary agriculture processing stage. Food waste focus on the food that is to throw away at the end of the supply chain. I mean, at the consumers, the distributions, and the industrial processing. But why is it important to reduce food loss and food waste? When food is lost or waste, all the resources that were used to produce this food go to waste. And I mean here, we waste land, we waste water, we waste money. In addition, the disposal in landfills leads to greenhouse emissions, contributing to the climate change. Food loss and waste can also negatively impact food security and food availability and contribute to increasing the cost of food. Reducing food loss and waste is essential in a world where millions of people go hungry every day. The food waste hierarchy focuses on delivering the best environmental option for dealing with waste. And if we look at the top of the inverted pyramid, we see the prevention is the first mentioned. And the last option for us is the disposal. So the principle of the food framework is to keep food products at the highest dire possible, redefining waste as a potential resources rather than as unwanted burden. So it's up to us to reduce the food waste in our houses. So let's see some tips and tricks for everyday life. Buy, order, or cook only what you can eat. Look twice in the fridge. Maybe something left inside. Plan your meal. Before shopping, it's better to make a shopping list and, of course, to stick to that list. Pick ugly fruits and vegetables. Don't judge food about its appearance. Oddly shaped fruits and vegetables are really good and they taste the same like normal fruits. Don't worry about these cosmetic reasons. Love your leftovers. If you don't eat everything you make, you can freeze it and use it for later. Or you can use the leftover as an ingredient in another meal. But let's go back to my project, the Zero Waste for You project. So the main project aims to empower young people, the Generation Z, especially students, to reframe their relation with food resources, adopt smarter lifestyles and sustainable consumption patterns, and, of course, think circularity. Young people up to age 24 form crucial groups that they are distinguished from another young citizen and individuals by several characteristics that affect their food habits. So we can include here their education, lifestyle, purchasing behavior, and the way they eat food, especially if they are pursuing their education away from home. So the main goal of this project is to understand what category of food young people are mostly likely to throw away, on which their waste is affected by their behavior, and identify areas where they can change their shopping, preparation, or storage habits. So to bridge the gap between theoretical approaches and real-life behavior, we use mathematical models and tools to represent young people behavior in the specific context. So we use a deep learning technique, convolutional neural network. It's a class of deep learning, which is nowadays considered one of the main state-of-the-art machine learning methods. The main idea between this network is using filters. These filters are responsible for detecting the features or patterns in the image. The main idea was to build a model that recognizes different types of food. I mean, vegetables, potatoes, carrots, orange fruits, and so on. And determine the food waste based on pictures that were taken on plates before and after the meal. Determine the food waste for every food category from that model. So 66 subjects from each participating country, Croatia, Estonia, Italy, Romania, and Serbia, young people up to age 24, were completely voluntary from October 2022 to February 2023, were asked to join the food waste story. In this story, we have analyzed their habits. So in the first place, we asked the participants to keep a journal, a 7-day waste journal or diaries. So in the research method, we have analyzed these diaries. The second task for these young people was to take photos of each meal before and after consumption within the same 7 days. The images were processed with the neural convolutional network. In addition, with the food waste diaries and the image collection, a self-administrated survey was used. Participants were required to evaluate and document all food waste, regardless of where and how it was consumed. I mean here, restaurant, catering, home-cooked meals, fast food, snacks, everything they had in these days. The unit of measures used for food waste was equivalent to an adult feast measured in serving. In addition to the amount of food thrown away, students also entered the reasons they throw away that food. So we have here in the table an example of what students had to do. All the food was divided in food categories, from fruits, vegetables, to cookies, prepared meals, and others. From the collected data, it appears that within 7 days, there are data according to the students' diaries. The highest amount of food waste was generated by young people in Romania, while the lowest amount was generated by the young people from Estonia. Similar amounts of food waste we can find in young people from Croatia and Serbia. So let's see some numbers. If we look at this graph, we can see that vegetables category account the largest share of food waste in Estonia, averaging 24%. Another notable source of food waste in Estonia were fruits with 18%. if we look in graphs for Italy, we can see the highest amount of food waste were observed in fish, 35%, a really high percent, and fruit categories, 15%. In Croatia, we can go next and see that in Croatia, the food amount of food waste was really, really high. The main contributors of food waste from this country were fruits with 24%. The second largest amount of food in Croatia were meat products with 15%. In Serbia, the highest amount of food waste was recorded in vegetables and fruits. The meat and meat products accounted about 13%. But let's see Romania, because Romania had the highest total amount of food wasting among all the 5 countries. The main source of food waste in Romania was prepared meal. I think this is not really a surprise, because Romanian people really cook home and they like to eat home. So this source of food waste represents 21% from all the categories. After prepared meal, we have surprise. Meat and meat products were involved with almost 20% of waste, followed by potatoes with 11%. The lowest percentage of food thrown in Romania was recorded for pasta, rice, and cereal products, bread, cookies, milk, and dairy products. And the last one was fish with only 1%. The second task was images of the food waste, food waste. So all the young people were asked to take pictures. A lot of pictures, thousands of pictures we collected at the end, and we analyzed these pictures. So in food waste analysis, each meal was photographed before and after consumption within the same 7 days. Those images were attached to the waste food diary, and then they were processed using the neural network convolutional. So this tool recognizes images of food taken before consumption and estimates the amount of food waste based on the images that we take. So the food waste detection model was implemented in Python using the TensorFlow environment, and the data, actually the images of food participants, were imported and grouped in the same 12 main categories from the food waste diary. Because each image had a different background, it was necessary to mask that background and create that model that recognized the largest shape in the image and calculate only the difference of the food, completely excluding the background of the image. So this tool has successfully identified foods in the images taken before meals and accurately estimated the amount of food waste based on the visual data. So let's see the data from the photographs. According to the analyzed picture, the highest percentage of the food waste was generated in Croatia, 15.51%, followed by Serbia, 15.22%, then Romania, 14.71%, Italy, 10.64%, while the lowest, the same, is Estonia with 3.81%. So if we compare this data from the food waste diary with the images, we see the Romanian people exaggerate a little bit when they complete their diaries. According to the food waste diaries, the most waste was generated in Romania. In the pictures, we see different things. Croatia is the most generates the most waste, food waste. So Serbia and Croatia had sorry. So we'll see how we do with the percent of fruits and vegetables that we investigate. Because on this page, we'll find data from participating countries on the food waste based on images collected in the same in some food categories. So we try to make a distinction between the most generated food waste and the least generated food waste between the countries. And as we see, in the image, we can observe that Romania generates the most waste food from the prepared meal, as Estonia is the one who generates the lowest amount of food waste from prepared meal. So in the last survey, we want to find what is the self-administrated survey for the students. So in addition to the food waste diary and these images that we collected, we made a questionnaire based on Google Forms software. And we can see in this table some examples of questions. There are examples from general waste knowledge, general attitude, food behavior, and financial concern. So in the results, we see that the Croatian students had the highest level of general knowledge about food waste, with 50% correct answer. They were followed quite close by Romanian, Estonian, Serbian, and Italian students. But if we look at the other questions, the ethical and moral criteria, Estonian students are really, really good in this. Their answers are exceptionally high on this issue of food waste. In this way, they show the highest awareness of the general personal attitude to food waste. So, based on all questions, 49 questions in total, which include basic knowledge of food waste, personal attitudes, behavior, to financial and health aspects, Estonian students overall show the highest level of motivation and consumer behavior regarding food waste. So they are in this top. Food handling practices vary significantly from country to country, as eating habits are deeply rooted in our culture. These habits are passed down from generation to generation and are influenced by traditional practices and religious affiliation, which can greatly affect food choices. At the end, I would like to close my presentation with a recommendation. It's a movie, a documentary movie regarding our food and our habits to eat. It's a movie made in Vancouver about a couple who deals with food waste for 2 months. So the movie is Just Eat It, Food Waste Story. Thank you. So I guess there are no questions for me. Okay.
It's working. Mirela, congratulations. It's a great subject and so an important subject, and in my opinion, you should promote these results in our university. We should find to discuss how we can make it more visible, make all these results more visible in our student community. As you know, we are trying to, with the help of our students, we have a special system to compost all the food remains, the food waste from our student canteen, from our restaurants, but it's not enough. As you mentioned, the losses are quite big, and as far as I understood from another, could you please close your microphones online? Thank you. So what I heard from another presentation, that talking about the whole chain from the production till the final consumption, at the end, you mentioned about 1/3 of losses, but at the end, taking in consideration other collateral losses, we arrive nearly at 50% loss in food. So it's extremely important to present all these results to our students, trying to make them understand that it's so important to take care of our food. In the same time, what we noticed, we have a special system in our canteen where most of the food that we buy, it's weighted. So we put on the scale, besides the soup, all the other dishes, besides the soup and the salads, all the other dishes are weighted. So what we noticed, it was a question of, how to say, a fair price for what you get or for what you eat. So it was a decision that for the first time I didn't agree with that. But what we noticed, because everyone is made its weight of all the food it takes, we could not see so much waste after.
Yes.
I mean, the plates are quite empty at the end of the meal. This is quite an interesting way of thinking. And as you know, probably there are already in UK and in other countries, Western countries, restaurants where you go and you pay for your food, but at the end you pay for all the remains or the food waste you have in your plate, much more than all the let's say, bill generally.
And we have the zero waste concept. There are restaurants, including in Romania, they are cooking with foods from local people, and they are doing their own things with these vegetables, fruits, and products. But they are bought from local people. And because more than 50% of us lives in cities, it's important to buy these products from quite close chain.
Another comment, because food is important for all of us, and most of us, we are working hard to produce food, using resources, water, land, as you mentioned before. And you mentioned that it's also extremely important to try to buy ugly food. Sometimes small fruits are much tastier than the biggest one, because the sugar content or the dry matter content is higher. What I noticed in New York, there is quite an interesting, in downtown Manhattan, there is an interesting farmers market where farmers from New Jersey are selling every day their products. So not every day they are able to sell everything they brought there. So they don't like to bring the fruits or the vegetables back home. So a smart guy opened a restaurant just opposite this farmers market. So every fruit or vegetables or other products that were not sold is able to process to prepare for his customers. So all those customers will have extremely fresh food with 0 kilometers, if we can say. So maybe this model also can be promoted also in our cases, because Bucharest and not only have quite many local farmers markets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sandro, for your presentation about food waste. The next presentation will be a presentation made by two persons from South Africa, and it is about smallholder farmers' perception of conservation agriculture, evidence from Nkomazi local municipality, South Africa.
Thank you. Good afternoon to everybody in the house, moderators and colleagues online. I'm presenting today on the perceptions of smallholder farmers towards the concept of conservation agriculture. These were farmers in Nkomazi local municipality, which is one of the municipalities in our district municipality in Mpumalanga province. This is my presentation outline. The production of food in a more sustainable way has been threatened over the years following the realities of climate change, which comes in different facets. However, there are sustainable agricultural practices that can come with improved farming resilience, especially among smallholder farmers, which are the most vulnerable ones in terms of climate change. Conservation agriculture is one of the agricultural systems with great potentials towards farmers' adaptation to the effects of climate change, which also promotes agriculture, sustainable agriculture or farming practices. The aim of conservation agriculture is to ensure improved farming resilience, improved soil health, increased farm productivity, food security worldwide, adaptation to climate change. Studies have shown, though, that there is a low rate of adoption towards conservation of agriculture, especially in developing countries. Therefore, this study or project examined the smallholder farmers' perceptions of conservation agriculture with an assumption that probably the farmers' perceptions contribute to the low rate of conservation agriculture adoption. With this conceptual framework, I'm most interested in the three parts, the no-tillage, the soil cover, which comes probably with mulching. And with mulching, we may need to look into environmentally friendly practices, and then crop rotation. And then you look at the benefits of conservation agriculture, which comes with improved crop yields, atmospheric carbon sequestration, preservation of biodiversity, which also is being fed by the issue or the concept of mulching, managing watershed or waterland or wetlands, climate-smart agriculture. We are in the era of climate change, so we need at least climate-smart farming practices. Then the study was conducted in Nkomazi. For those of you, of course, many of you have not been to Nkomazi. This is where Nkomazi is on the map. So this whole map shows our district, which is Ehlanzeni district within the Mpumalanga province. Then that space, the Nkomazi, is where the study was conducted. The study employed a mixed method of research, which comprises of both the qualitative and the quantitative study approaches. The study randomly sampled 366 smallholder farmers after having determined the sample size through the Sloven's sample size calculation formula. You will realize that from the formula, we're supposed to take 294 smallholder farmers to participate. However, we wanted to increase or improve the reliability and the validity of the data set, so we increased the numbers because resources also permitted that to 366. Collection of data, we used structured questionnaires and participatory rural appraisal tools, which involve focus group discussions, Venn diagramming, transit walk, etc. Descriptive statistics, such as your frequencies, percentages, mean and standard deviation were used to analyze the data collected by means of the IBM SPSS version 27. When we look at the participants to our study, we realize that majority of them are females. And of course, it is influenced by so many reasons. In rural areas, we know that men normally relocate or move from rural areas to cities in search of white-collar jobs where they can be better paid so that they can use remittances to support their families. So they leave out females to continue with farming responsibilities. The other issue that we noted is the issue of the farmers that are participating. Personally, when I collected data, I happened to engage with a farmer who was 87 years of age. And that indicates that they're passionate about the thing, but it also raises concerns in terms of the sustainability of the farming practices. If young people are not coming in, as you can see, the participation rate of young people is a little bit low at 17.5%. And then majority of the participants were educated. You can see that they had secondary education. Of course, my field is agricultural extension. We don't regard farmers as illiterate because we know that we can learn one or two things probably that will assist us in analyzing certain issues that they are faced with in the field or in the community. So having reached secondary education to us when we talk to farmers, and you can see that majority of them are adults. So we consider them to be educated as such. So this speaks of your marital status is up to water source. And one of the things that smallholder farmers struggle with is access to water. However, in this area, they've got access to a river, although it's not everybody that has access to the river. As you can see, it's 29.5. But those that are able, in terms of financial strength, they use boreholes. I don't know if you know boreholes this side of the world. Yeah, but that's what they use. And then when we look at the adoption, remember I said in the introduction, studies shows that there's low adoption rate of conservation agriculture. But our findings are a little bit different because we have almost 93% of the participants having adopted conservation agriculture, which of course comes in many different ways. I believe in the coming slide you'll see what we're talking about. And only about 6.8% of the farmers did not adopt. Of course, it's because some farmers probably prefer to produce sugar cane, from which we get our sugar. They produce cotton, they produce beans, etc. So the conservation agricultural practices that a number of farmers are using is around the concept of crop rotation. And it's probably because crop rotation has been known by rural people for years, which is one of the skills that have been passed from generation to generation. I also grew up seeing my grandmother in the farm rotating crops, though I did not know what she was doing, but of course I could see, oh, this year we've planted this and the other year we plant that. So that's what mainly they use. But we found that they also use minimum tillage. Of course, it's probably because of the financial muscle, which is not adequate, and the tools that they use in the farm, which doesn't allow deep ripping or turning of the soil. So we also noticed that there is a very good percentage, which is 10.7 on intercropping, and then only 1.1% were cover cropping. And it's probably because they are not well aware of what cover cropping is all about and what it can do to them. And then when we looked at the perceptions, the questions was, how do you perceive conservation agriculture to be beneficial to your farming practices or to your farm? And then a range of responses were provided to the participants, ranging from increased soil organic matter content. Probably when you apply mulching, you'll have that. If you actually incorporate a previous crop residue back into the soil, we are going to have organic matter increased or improved in the soil. Water retention enhancement, improved rooting depth, and all that, which also brings this great percentage of 31.1% on reduced pest and disease outbreak. And of course, we know that climate change comes with an increased level of outbreaks of pests and diseases. But it has been realized that if farmers actually practice conservation agriculture, they actually, in a way, naturally so, manage that crisis that comes with climate change. And it's a very good thing that farmers have mastered, that it helps them. And then we then also looked towards the extent to which conservation agriculture seems to be beneficial on the soil quality, because we can have all that we need to produce if we have quality soil. So with the use of conservation agriculture, for this particular question, it was a Likert scale question, which was graduated to 5 points, and we used mean and standard deviation. The highest mean you can see is 4.26, and the standard deviation throughout the 4 items is closely related to the mean, which means it's not that much far from that. And then when you look at this mean, which, like I said, is the greatest, it speaks to reduced levels of soil erosion. And of course, we have noted that many soils in Nkomazi are sandy loam, and some are actually on a steeper slope. So, but when they use conservation agriculture, the soil becomes more resistant to issues of erosion. Of course, that is attributed to the concept of much more crop cover that we come up, soil cover that we come up with. And if we've got more soil cover, then of course we are most likely not to see or witness issues of soil erosion. The study aimed at assessing the farmers' perception of conservation agriculture. The results shows that majority of the farmers in Nkomazi have adopted conservation agriculture, which is contrary to many authors who confirmed that the adoption of conservation agriculture is very low or it's below the expected. However, the perceived benefits of conservation agriculture are almost similar across many studies, including ours. Therefore, it can be concluded that the adoption of conservation agriculture varies from location to location. The felt needs of individual farmers, financial, human, and physical resources available or needed, including the land size, because somehow the farmers couldn't adopt certain practices because of the amount of land that they have. And then it's then therefore recommended that future studies could look into relationships between the adoption of conservation agriculture and external support forces, because it is clear that the benefits that comes with conservation agriculture has nothing to do with the low adoption rate of conservation agriculture. Probably if we can have external support services or economic issues that may be coming in as a role player towards the low adoption rate of conservation agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the references, just a few of those that have been used. And then we would like to acknowledge the University of Mpumalanga for giving us ethical clearance to conduct this study, as well as funding us to attend the One Health Student International Conference. We want to also appreciate the organizers of the conference for affording us a seat to come and present. And of course, we were funded by NRA for the project to run through. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'm happy to take questions should there be any.
Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. I want to check with you, did you try to check the relationship, for an example, when you look into marriage, you look into education, you look into age, do you see some relationship that you can at least say that people who are not maybe educated and maybe who are actually not married, they are likely to not to be involved in the conventional agriculture?
Yeah, we did that. It was presented in another conference. So when we look into those aspects, like the socio-economic characteristics of smallholder farmers, we realize that only a few have sort of a relationship that is positive towards the adoption of conservation agriculture, such as your age and education level were very much on point, because we could even agree to that somebody who is experienced in the farming industry has more chances of adopting. But yes, we did look into that, and if people are interested in that, the paper is already online, which was presented at Agrico 2021. Probably during break time, I can also give you the link towards that paper. It's there online.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you. It was a very interesting presentation, and also for you being here and the organizers. In the same time, we had a really interesting approach. You have a questionnaire with multiple participants, small farmers, and I want to ask you how open they are to get in touch with you when you ask the questions, regarding the fact that if before we had a presentation that it was related to consumption and food waste, now we discuss about production, and the waste that is quite big is around 15% in this case, worldwide discussion. Also, another question is related to the women that are participating in the studies, which is very interesting because in Europe we have less women and more men,
And in your studies, as you mentioned in the beginning, the women are the main participants in this category. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like you to rephrase your first question so that I really give an answer that is correctly linked to the question.
No, we can start with the second one, and then we can relate it to the first one.
Okay, sure. The only issue that we are experiencing in terms of survey participation, in terms of survey research, is the research or kind of exhaustion from the farmer's point of view, that people have been coming to collect data and they've not been receiving assistance as such. Hence, now we need to look at what really external support can come in for farmers to really benefit as such. Because in as much as we went back to communicate the findings, but still to them that was not enough. But again, most of the time when we launch out, we use their traditional leaders. Like for instance, I don't know if this site you've got kings and chiefs and all that. So we use those to contact the rural farmers because they are most linked or related to them. So if we go through them, because it is believed that the chiefs are the gatekeepers, so they actually are the ones that introduce us to the farmers to say, please attend to these people, show them to where other farmers are, and you know, that kind of a relationship. That's why we managed to get this number of participants. Otherwise, some studies don't get up to that.
You answered very well. I was focused on this because I just closed 2 projects with the World Bank, and we had some discussions with small farmers in the rural area. And honestly, it wasn't easy to get in touch with them, and not only get in touch with them, make them speak and tell what their problems are and what they're facing or what they want to do in the future. That's why I was interested to see how things in this part.
Yeah.
And
the other thing, while we're still there, that which I did practically, you know, some farmers are not easy goers like that. So I would found them maybe removing weeds in the farm using a hand hoe, and I'm there with my work suits. I want to collect data from them. So before I interview them, I collect the hand hoe, I do the work, and then I start talking to them while I record what we are talking about. So, you know, they feel that you are not there just to collect information, but you are there to assist. And if there are issues, let's say they've got stubborn weeds, we know that some weeds can grow resistance towards certain chemicals. So if there's those issues, then we look at what type of weed is it or pest it is, and then we recommend what they can do or use. You know, those are some of the important things that as you collect data, the farmers are benefiting at the same time. So I think that kind of a relationship also it's important. But of course, it's becoming difficult to collect data from people because they feel like we researchers are using them. You know.
Have you come back to the results to the farmers to see their reaction after you have implemented the study?
Yes, we did do that. We communicated the results. Part of our work was also towards the extension service, like I said previously, that I'm into extension, agricultural extension. So we took that kind of a portion to extension officers as well, because it's always ethically good to communicate the results to see whether some farmers can improve their farming practices or can actually stand up and go look for help elsewhere. You know, but yeah, we did that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir, excellent presentation. 2 questions. Do you have any work on biological fight? Do you try to apply some, in your area, some biological fight methods, so no chemical fighting methods against pests and diseases?
Not really, Prof. in my study, we normally don't do that. We just collect the data. But I think it's something that one can look into how farmers manage probably pests using the biological means. Yeah, I think it's something that one can look at. Yeah.
And the second question, if you have any demonstration plots just to show to the people what are the best practices, what are the results, visible results after applying conservative agriculture?
Well,
to some farm, I don't know.
Yeah, there is, but it's not ours. The Department of Agriculture in our space, they work closely with experienced farmers. They selected the farmers in categories, like they will have a maize specialized grower, and then there's one that grows almost a number of vegetables, and then cotton specialized grower, and all that. So they would use those most experienced farmers as demonstrating sites. And as we collaborate with the department, we happen to be part of some of these demonstration sites. It also does happen through Farmers Weekly or Farmers Days, but then that period is not sufficient. So the most efficient way is that of having the most experienced farmer in the field, and then they bring all the farmers that should learn those particular practices to learn from that farmer. And that's what we have been noticing and part of during the past few years.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thanks, bro.
So thank you very much, Moses. The next presentation is from Romania, and I would like to invite Bianca Denisa Chereji to present her article, World-Based Filters for the Retaining of Heavy Metals from Industrial and Contaminated Wastewater.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chereji Bianca Denisa. I am from Aurel Vlaicu University of Arad. I am a PhD student at Environmental Engineering, and today I want to present my study work, Wool-Based Filters for the Retaining of Heavy Metals from Industrial and Contaminated Wastewater. The main topics of this presentation will be water pollution with heavy metals. Sheep wool can be an efficient solution, the working principle of sheep wool filters, the advantages, and the study and the experimental study, which will highlight the efficient of sheep wool for the retaining of heavy metals. So first of all, water is a fundamental resource for sustaining life on our planet, and the availability of uncontaminated water is crucial for both human beings and natural environment. Over the past few decades, the quality of water has been negatively impacted due to the ongoing growth of the population, rapid industrialization, and also the expanding of urban areas. The pollutants of significant concern include organic matter, nutrients, pharmaceuticals, and personal care products, biocides, heavy metals, and also nanoparticles. Water pollution with heavy metals are extensively discarded pollutants, and through their significant interest, because heavy metals are persistent, non-degradable, non-soluble, and therefore they can bioaccumulate, which is the increase over time of their concentration and in living and aquatic organisms. in industrial activities often generate wastewater containing heavy metals, posing an increased risk to the environmental and health. Heavy metals such as lead, cadmium, mercury, and chromium are persistent and toxic substances that can accumulate in the water and food chains. And traditional methods such as chemical precipitation, ion exchange, and membrane filtration have limitation in terms of cost, complexity, and efficiency. And sustainable and cost-effective alternatives are therefore needed. So for this problem can be an effective solution, the sheep wool, because wool possesses unique properties, including a complex structure with diverse functional groups, high surface area, and absorption capacities, making it promising alternatives for filtration systems. And also, sheep wool is a natural, biodegradable, cost-effective, and renewable resource, has recently attracted attention as a potential natural for retaining heavy metals in industrial wastewater, which is the working principle of sheep wool filters. So first of all, the filtration process consists of passing wastewater through filters containing sheep's wool. After the waters flow through the wool and the heavy metal ions are retained in the wool filters, and then wool will act as an absorbent, retaining heavy metals from the wastewater. Also, what are the advantages of wool filters? So the first advantages can be cost effective because sheep wool is readily available and cheap compared to other filtration materials. Is renewable and sustainable with a natural and renewable resource, making it an environmentally friendly option. And last but not least, the retention capacity, because wool's unique structure and chemical composition allows for efficient retention of heavy metals. Several research studies have investigated the effectiveness of sheep's wool filters in retaining heavy metals, and these studies have shown encouraging results, such as high retention values for various heavy metals, for example, lead, copper, cadmium, magnesium, and zinc. Wool filters show higher absorption capacities compared to other materials, and also the compatibility with the different industrial wastewater compositions. So for the experimental study, we use wool waste cleaned of impurities and washed with distillated water. And then we prepare 2 grams of wool, and for each sample, we added 100 milliliters of the prepared heavy metals. The heavy metal solution that we use in this experimental study was cadmium sulfate. After 30, 60, and 90 minutes, was extracted 10 milliliters of the sample, and then were preparated for spectrophotometer analysis. And the results, as we can see in the graphic 2, the efficiency of sheep wool filters for heavy metals retention from the 3 times examined samples are the following. First, after the 20 minutes, the retained capacity is over 74%. After 60 minutes, the wool in contact with the heavy metal solution is approximately 76%. And after 90 minutes is a slightly decrease of the retained capacity, but it's under 70%. So after this experimental study, sheep wool filters seems to be available and long-term option for retaining heavy metals from industrial wastewater or contaminated water. Wool's unique characteristics, such as its high retention capacity and environmental friendliness, make it appealing material for filters. but also more research and development are required to improve the effectiveness of fuel filters and addresses present obstacles. But the use of ship wool filters may help to reduce heavy metals pollution while also protecting the environment and human health. Here are some few references that I use for the study work, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Bianca.
Thank
That's
you.
a really interesting presentation. And if you have any questions, I'm sure. If you have questions for Bianca, please.
Okay. Well done for this wonderful work. I wanted to check with you if you have thought about what could be done to the wool after using it.
Yes, we have, actually it's our first preoccupation, what we have done with the filters. We have some ideas in our mind, but we have to check them and to make sure that is safe for the environment, and also the methods that we have is also eco-friendly for the environment.
Thank you.
I think it's secret for now.
Yeah.
I just want to congratulate you, and at the same time to say that we are supporting you in the work that you're doing, and it's very important. Why? Because you came from Banat, and in Banat they grow most of the sheep in the country, around 10%. We have in this moment around 10 million sheep, and then there will be in Timișoara and in Arad, which are neighbors. They have more than 1 million. So when you finish with the study, and if you'll apply, we'll be all really, really happy. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bianca.
Okay, thank you so much.
Well, the next presentation is about optimizing environmental intelligence in an Internet of Things system for sustainable health monitoring. Research made by Ana Maria Comeagă and Iuliana Marin. Maybe they are online. We will continue with the next research about observation regarding industrial air pollution in the northwest area of Bucharest, made by Ana Maria Alexandra Jalbă, Elena Mitrănescu, and Laurențiu Tudor. Yeah, we will make another change. We'll go to the next research about phenology of pure tree, Pyrus communis. No. Dumitru. Diana Isabela Dumitru, Elena Mitrănescu, and Maria Alexandra Jalbă, and Laurențiu Tudor, about chemical and biological parameters of Dâmbovița River water and in Chiajna-Lacul Mori area.
Chemical and biological parameters of the water of the Dâmbovița River in the Chiajna zone, Mori Lake. During the first quarter of 2023, the quality of water in the Dâmbovița River was analyzed. Taking into account the determination of water quality, samples were taken at 4 points of the river. At the Chiajna regulation point, the entry and exit point of the river in Lacul Mori, downstream the Iroilor segment, from this sampling, biological and chemical parameters were performed. The following, including organochlorine pesticides. Following the analysis of the results, it was found that the indicators of organochlorine pesticides were exceeded 2-3 times in each control point. The methods used are those stipulated by STAS 4706 from 1988. From a biological point of view, the species of phytoplankton and zooplankton were determined and the degree of relative cleaning was also calculated. From the biocenotic indices, the frequency percentage, the percentage of the species in total samples collected, and the abundance, the percentage ratio between individuals of a species in the sample and total number of individuals in all samples were also determined. Analyzing the chemical indicators of the Dymbovica water, the following could be observed. The organic load of the water represented by the indicators is in the second level of water quality in all sampling points. The concentration of iron and cadmium in all sampling points is in the first quality. But organochlorine pesticides exceeded 3-4 times the limit provided by STAS. Along the Dymbovica River on the section that runs through the city of Bucharest, the relative degree of cleaning is 51% at the entrance control point section and decreases to 46% downstream the Surel Dam, which you can see in the second photo. During the first quarter of 2023, in all sections of the control points, the following organisms were present. Bacteria, including Mycophyta, Diatomea, Flagellata, Ciliata, and much more. Conclusions and recommendations. According to STAS, the Dymbovica River is in the first water quality category along the Bucharest municipality, the entrance and downstream of the Lacul Mori control point, and in the second water quality category downstream of Lacul Mori at checkpoints on the Eroilor segment. The quality of organochlorine pesticides increased compared to the limits provided by STAS by 3 and 4 times. The relative degree of cleaning varies between 51% and 46%. The analysis carries out also important in the context where in the interest area, Chiajna Lacul Mori, there is a tendency to form a natural aquatic area massively populated by bird species in the camp and nest. References, and thank you for your attention.
If there are questions?
Thank you.
Diana Isabella, you mentioned here so many bacteria that I was impressed. I didn't thought that there are certainly most of them probably they are not harmful for our life, or because I saw some people fishing in that lake.
Yes.
There are any possibilities of cleaning those waters, because we have seen some plastic things that are close to the dam, or how can we improve the quality of the water inside that Lacul Mori lake and dam?
First of all, we should educate more the people there, because they are throwing a lot of garbage. At Lacul Mori, there is a big population of young people which spends time there, and they are also polluting with a lot of garbage as cigarettes or, I don't know, plastic residuals.
Maybe we need to think also to study some biological control possibilities of developing useful organisms in that water. I don't know, because education is one thing, and certainly insula, the island there, it's a nice pollution source, I think. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next presentation will be held from Ruxandra Gogoț, Cosmin Mihai, Ana Butcaru, Florin Stănică, and Dorel Hoza. Please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ruxandra Gogoț, and I am a PhD student at Faculty of Horticulture. My study are phenology of pear tree, Pyrus communis, according to BBCH scales, influenced by local climate data of Bucharest, Romania. Se conectează aici.
So, how do you feel?
The pear tree is an appreciated species of temperate climate, being cultivated in Romania since ancient times, both in the hilly area and in the plain, where it finds optional conditions for growth and fructification. The importance of pear tree culture is primarily due to the special quality of the fruit, consisting of carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, but especially pears are distinguished by a specific flavor and fineness of the pulp in some varieties. The study of periodic biological events such as bud break, flushing, flowering, and fruit development is called phenology, closely regulated by climate and seasonal changes. From an agronomical point of view, understanding the consequence of a particular microclimate enable the response of the plant to be foreseen. Knowledge of crop phenology is crucial for timing proper management practices such as plant watering, air fertilization, pest and weed control, among others. The current research focused on describe the phenological growth stages of the pear tree according to the BBCH scale. 6 pear cultivars were chosen for recording observation: Euras, Cristal, Romcor, Corina, Horizont, and Tudor. Pear trees were grown under homogeneous conditions in loamy clay soil at a spacing of 3 meter or 0.8 or 1.6 meter spacing. a drip irrigation system was under the fertigation purposes. The phenological growth stage were recorded at the experimental field station at USAMV Bucharest. Measurements and observation were carried out over one growing seasons, 2023, from March to November. Measurements were made 1 time per week. Representative plants were photographed to describe the phenological growth stages. The phenological growth stages of pear tree were described and defined between winter dormancy and leaf fall using the BBCH general scale. First variety is Euras. It has 3 root shocks, queens, own roots, and pear. On 23 March, we have flower visible. After a week, we have the first leaf open. On 6th April, we have the buds is really to bloom. And we have first flower open on 9 April. On 20 April, we have petals fallen and dry. And all petals fallen and dry on 25 April. In May, the fruits growth, and we have 30% of the final size. In July, we have 70% of final size, and in September, the fruit was developed flesh, sweet, and yellow. We harvest the fruits in November on 7. The leaves follow on 20 October. Near all leaves follow on November. Another variety is crystal. On 23 March, the first leaf appear. On 30 March, flowers was visible, and the first leaves appear. In April, on 6th, 40% of flowers was open, and the last flower has bloomed on 11 April. In April, we have growth the leaves. In May, we have 20% of size of fruits. In May, we have fruits at 40% of final size, and in July, we have 18% of final size for fruit. In August, fruits are almost ripe for consumption, and on 24 August we harvest all fruits. Leaves follow on October, and near all leaves follow on November. Another variety was Romcor. The first leaves open on 23 March, and the flowers still closed until 30 March. Flowers open in April. On 6th April, we have 20% of flower open, and full flowering was on 11 April. All petals fallen or dry on 20 April, and the fruits started to grow in May. In May, on 9, the fruits are 30% of final size, and in July we have 50% of final size. In August, the fruits have physiological maturity, and to the end of month we harvest. Foliage still full green until 27 September, and in November the leaves are follow at 80%. Corina is another variety. Visible flower was on 23 March, and the flower still closed until 20 March. Flowers open in April. We have 20% of flower open on 6, and the full flowering on 11 April. The end of flowering was on 20 April, and the growing of fruits started in May. In July, we have 60% of final size. In August, we have physiological maturity, and to the end of month, we harvest the fruits. Foliage was still green until 27 September, and on November the leaves fall. Another variety is Horizont. We have visible flower buds on 23 March, and flowers still closed until 20 March. On 6th April, we have flower opens, and full flowering was on 11 April. All petals fallen on dry on 20 April, and in May the fruits start to grow. In June, we have fruits at 30% of final size, and in July we have 60% of final size. In August, the fruits have physiological maturity, and after that we harvested it. All leaves was green until 27 September, and they follow on November. The last variety was Tudor. It has visible flower buds on 23 March, and the flowers still closed until 30 March. On 6th April, we have 20% of flower open, and the full flowering was on 11 April. The end of flowering was on 27 April, and in May the fruits start to grow. In June we have fruits at 30% of final size, and in July we have fruits at 60% of final size. In August we have physiological maturity, and on 18 August we have harvest all fruits. Foliage still fully green until 27 September, and after that leaves follow until 8% of November. The BBCH scale provides an accurate description of pear tree phenology. This is important for the correct timing of orchard management. Knowledge about fruit tree phenology is categorically essential to accurately program orchard practices such as foliar sampling in order to determine seasonal nutrient demand according to different nasty tree vigor. Pear tree cultivation require a wide range of horticultural practice such as pruning, flower and fruit thinning, pollination technique, fertilizer, irrigation technique, and pesticide application and harvest. To properly manage pear tree orchard, an accurate tree phenology must be scheduled. Nowadays, it is necessary to know in which phenological stage our orchards are correlated to local climate condition. The next step in the research is to calculate the killing hour and the height requirements for each cultivar, respective BBCH scale.
Thank you very much. If there are questions for Ruxandra.
We have seen some pears on the tables these days. Unfortunately, were not yours, but I'm sure that yours are the same, very tasty. It was another variety, the one that we ate here. One question is, have you noticed differences between the three variants, pear grafted on queens, on roots, and grafted on pears, regarding the phenology dates?
Yes, it is, because
Microphone.
there are difference. I notice on pear rootstocks start the blooming last, and the leaves follow was lost.
Yeah, it was obvious also from the pictures.
I put the date for each other when follow the leaves.
Okay. A very detailed job and a lot of work that you did. Thank you so much and congratulations.
Moritz mentioned, but it's very interesting the study because our consumption have been changed during the time because we have access to the market is open, and we import a lot of fruits. Why we import a lot of fruits? Because we don't have the producers that can come with their to offer to the people that want to eat. In this case, what you presented to us is really interesting because you make the period to be longer, and this is important for the consumption and consumers. Congratulations and good luck with the study.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Returning back to another presentation about the optimizing environmental intelligence in an Internet of Things system of sustainable health monitoring, research made by Ana Maria Comaga and Iuliana Marin. It is online.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Ana Maria Comago, and I'm a second year bachelor student at Faculty of Engineering in Foreign Languages from National University of Science and Technology, Polytechnic of Bucharest. And today I will speak about how environmental intelligence can be optimized in an IoT system for sustainable health monitoring. Because the environmental monitoring applications are evolving continuously, the need for some specific types of memory management strategies to face the fast changing of IoT technologies is shown in this paper. Our day-to-day life is almost fully dominated by interconnected technologies. So the Internet of Things is shaping it more and more. So in this context, our perception of the world has changed a lot due to the various applications of this concept, ranging from smart homes to industrial applications. The fundamental notion that stays behind the revolution is the tight connection between the IoT systems and the environmental health. In the low-end IoT devices, whose principal tasks are monitoring and managing environmental parameters, the memory management becomes crucial. This paper proposes an IoT system which underlines the challenges that come from the memory constraints in low-end devices, trying to ensure the smooth operation of them. For optimizing the performance of the low-end IoT devices, it's important to understand first the significance of memory management strategies. The foundation of the environmental health initiatives is formed by the specific tasks like collecting, processing, or transmitting data of devices ranging from air quality services, sensors to presence detectors. The current study focuses on design, configuration, scalability, and performance in scene management to ensure the optimal functionality of the IoT systems. The exploration extends to the multi-phase to memory allocation, scene execution, memory reduction, and system scalability, providing insights into the management of resources within the proposed IoT ecosystem. Whether interacted with external APIs, cloud services, or web-based applications, Home Assistant, the HTTP, integration facilities, comprehensive and interconnected IoT experience. As you can see in the first figure, for adding a new location, you must add firstly the name, and after that you have to choose the exact position on the interactive map, or you can add the latitude and the longitude. First, in the first case, the latitude and the longitude coordinates are added automatically. In the second picture is presented the user interface that you can see after the authentication. And with it, the verification of the IoT devices, such as indoor illumination based on the presence of movement, the CO, smoke, humidity, and door opening is possible. In the tab called Entities are shown the devices which are characterized by the name of the action, their identifier containing the name of the automation and the action. In general, the entities are individual parts of devices, and the device can have more entities. The device is exactly the light bulb in case of a light bulb that contains circuits and light, which monitors the indoor temperature, and the entities are temperature sensors and the light bulb. Another type of example is a button pressed in case of alert. Here, the device is the button, and the entities are the button's data, and how many times it was pressed in order to know exactly what report of data we are expecting. In order to test the behavior of the events, they can be automatically called for the platform by pressing the trigger event button. On the other hand, an automation can be activated manually from the automation menu simply by pressing the trigger button. An automation has the following steps. First, it is triggered by an event, for example, when a button is pressed or a motion sensor activates. Then the automation conditions are checked. If the temperature is higher than a certain value, or if the CO is over the average of the last 2 weeks. If the conditions are met, a service is called, such as turn on the light or open the door. The user can view reports from the application menu, and this is very useful for monitoring the activity and the measures on a certain period of time, and can enlighten a way to further analysis by keeping reports to observe how the entities modify on a longer interval of time, like months or year. It also have the management of the perturbing factors in order to improve the general quality of home's environment. In this table are illustrated the allocation of memory resources. For example, if we have a sensor for indoor illumination, it occupies 120 kilobytes, and the purpose of it is to ensure precise monitoring of light conditions, crucial for environmental assessment. In case of a movement detection, it facilitates the rapid identification if there are some spatial changes, and enables real-time responses to dynamic environmental conditions. For the sensor to detect CO levels, there are substantial allocation for robust and accurate assessment of air quality. In order to detect the smoke presence, we allocate memory to promptly detect and respond to the potential fire hazards, and it contributes to safety and environmental well-being. In case of humidity levels, they are dedicated. We dedicate memory for meticulous examination of moisture content, and is pivotal in assessing environmental conditions and potential health impacts. And the last case is the door stages, where the judicious allocation to monitor door status in real time is contributing to both security and environmental health conditions. In conclusion, the paper outlined an approach to design and set up the IoT systems, utilizing Python as the backend and Home Assistant Community Store for the graphical user interface. The exploration of the new environmental sensors and their seamless integration into the IoT system will, with the investigation of the personalized features and feedback mechanism, will contribute to the ongoing evolution of IoT ecosystems in environmental health monitoring. Here are presented the references of the paper.
Thank you so much.
If you have any questions.
If there are questions for this presentation.
No?
So, okay. We have one question.
Thanks. It's not really a question, but a comment for future presentations, because as a presenter, otherwise well done, as a presenter, as you talk to your slides, we want to be reading to see what you are saying, but your background on the presentation slides was making it almost impossible for us to follow. Other than that, thank you so much for the work well done. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll take the next presentation with a very interesting title, Exploring the Cosmos, a web-based application for pollution, constellation, and moon phase recognition. Please.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I know it's late. I think you're hungry. I will keep it short. Disclosure is the first time that I'm speaking to a microphone, so if I'm speaking too loud, please let me know. So my name is Mihai Maftei, and I will present to you Exploring the Cosmos. I'm from the University of Polytechnic of Bucharest, so I finished computer science. I know many of you talked about numbers, values, statistics, but I came with something technological or practical. So here is a web-based application for pollution, constellation, and moon phase recognition. This also has been developed under the guidance and with help of my professor Iuliana Marin. So we all know what constellations are, basically patterns of shiny dots named stars. And over the centuries, we managed to detect these constellations using many devices, such as the sextant, astrolabe, and the all-known well one, the telescope. But the technology is evolving as we're speaking. So what we can do to make it easier. Why this topic? Is because I've always been fascinated about the mysteries of the sky. And also, a plus, my dad was always mocking me about not being able to identify the Big Dipper on the sky. So as a little joke, this is my revenge move. And why? What is the connection between the stargazing and the topic of this conference, the environment? So we will talk this about in a later slide, but as a clue is about light pollution. Light pollution, what is that? We talk about different artificial light sources that are basically it's like a virus for the sky. You can think of it like that. So the objectives is an application, a web-based one, for constellation detection. What it does actually, it let the user upload an image taken with their phone and detect which constellation matches the most in that particularly picture. Let me know just to verify something. Okay. Okay. How does it work? Obviously, I said that it's a web-based application. So at this moment, we can access the web page. We can choose an image that we want to process in our program, and the result will be the found constellation, which is the most matchy, let's say, for it. In the future, of course, it has to be developed to be a mobile application so that every user can live detect these kind of constellations. Besides the recognition of constellations, I have also a moon phase detection, which allows us to verify in which state is the moon. We all know what is a full moon, a new moon, a half moon, but there are many other that we don't know about, so why not just trying to know those two? This is a more technical slide for the components. I will not brag you about the details. It's a Flask application, the code for template database, for the matching algorithm code, and the HTML code, which is the interface. It's like what you see on the web page. And here is how I managed to work with the template database. So this is an image taken from the internet. I pre-process it. I'm applying some filters. I don't know how visible it is, but the dots which represent the stars are red, and the connection between those are blue. So I'm applying a blue and a red mask. And then I'm binarizing these images. What is binarizing? Basically, I'm translating into black and white image, so it would be easier for me to work with. I will have binarized means values of 0 and 1. Anyways, And this is the normalized template. So this is what I'm working with for every constellations. I'm guiding myself from the first 2 brightest stars. I'm putting them in the location in a coordinate system in the position 0, 0, and 1, 0. And the rest of the stars will come along based on the distances, based on these 2 brightest stars. And here is the process of the algorithm. Basically ranking the stars, normalize the test images, we calculate the relative distances, compare the coordinates, and then we verify the overlap. Basically, it's the same process as for the creation of the template database. I mentioned also a moon phase detection. So how do I do that? I'm pre-processing the images of the moon. I'm detecting the biggest object in the picture. I'm calculating the circularity of it. Then I'm searching for the max and min values for the y value. Imagine a coordinate system in the moon. And I want to find the values for the max and min values for the y, such that I will cross a line between those 2 points and then calculate the number of the pixels. Because yes, I can calculate the circularity. I can find out if it's a full moon or a half moon, but if it's a half moon, I will not know on which side is the fullest. So this is why I want to calculate the number of pixels, so I know on each side which side is the fullest. So what do we get? In the first picture, upper image, we can see, I don't know how clear is that, first is the uploaded image. Then I have the template that it's found in my uploaded image. Then the third image is basically the constellation that is found. I have also some information right there with the name of the constellation and some information about the constellation. Is it useful? Yeah, well, for the stargazers and beginners, it's very useful application. Also for students and teachers that are learning about the space and the constellations. What is it new? Well, you may ask why not using already an application for stargazing, because there are many, but those aren't actually live detecting the constellations. They have a pre-installed stellar map, which is projected on the sky based on GPS location of the user. So what is new? You can use this application without internet connection. Let's say you're in the woods and you want to detect some constellations and you don't have internet connection. Okay, so I mentioned light pollution. So why this should be a light pollution tool? Well, if you can see in the down image from the right, you can see the process of the light pollution. We have different sources of light, and we can see the first source of light is very unacceptable because it's not, how do I say, it's spreading my mistake, it's spreading light in everywhere. So you cannot see the stars. You cannot use this application for detecting the stars because you cannot see because of the light. And for the very last source of light, you can see that it's turned off and it can be turned on sensors. So that would be a greater idea for the illumination, let's say, on streets. In this image, we can see light pollution map. You can observe, I don't know how much, there are red pinkish zones. Unfortunately for our country, let's say, Bucharest is the villain in our problem. So you can see it's very pink. So here in Bucharest, light pollution is very, very present, let's say. What can we do? This application can be good for this problem? Well, yes, because it was developed in such a way an image can be taken in one spot and be verified with other pictures taken in nights without light, or picture taken all over the year, so that we can figure it out if we are talking about light pollution or not. Another idea was actually mentioned in the presentation of Ms. Sandu, which was convolutional neural networks. So we can use also CNN for this problem. We can use also deep learning for teaching the program when is the case of light pollution or not, with obviously a big data set, but it can be manageable. And here's an example. If you're not convinced, I don't know how visible it is, but in the first picture, the sky is very clear. We can see the stars. It's not that visible on the projector, but I can see it clearly. And in the second image, we're talking about a very contaminated sky of light. So there's no stars, that we cannot detect any other constellation because we don't even see the stars on the sky. So it is a really bad cause for the skies. And okay, you can ask yourself, okay, what's the matter with that? I don't even care. What's the damaging of that? Well, this kind of pollution can be very, can contribute to our health, our mental health, also can develop chronic diseases or sleep problems. I personally lost count on how many times did I have to get out of bed and try to cover the window so no light could enter in the room I was sleeping in. I don't know if you experienced that before. And not only for humans is the problem, also for animals, because most animals travel on very long distances in the night, and they can be very disturbed of this lightning from cities, and they also tend to manage to travel on these long distances with the help of the constellation, actually, on the light of constellations or of the moon. We can also think of many species that are, let's say, eating in the night, so they also can be deranjate. Disturbed, yeah, thank you. Yes, so as conclusions, the application's accuracy is great, but not enough. It's not the best. It can be improved. Also for detection improvement, the application can detect one constellation at a time in one picture, so we have to develop it to detect more constellations than one in one picture. How I mentioned, it can also be a powerful light pollution detection. Think of many users using it in areas when that map that you see cannot reach, and we can be a help for those kind of sites so they can see, and we can increase this concern about light pollution with only using our smartphones. I did say that it has to be developed into a mobile application because we can carry our laptops with us and taking pictures with our laptops. It has to be a mobile application. And also, it can be turned into a learning tool. We can teach students how the distances between stars are calculated, or we can teach them about the hazards of the actual light pollution. So it can be integrated in schools also. Here are some references that I used. And this was my presentation. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions. Okay. Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a question regarding where can I download this application?
Well, at this moment it is in development. This was actually my diploma project for the bachelor thesis. And yeah, it's still in my laptop at this moment, but I will try and make it appear in your Google Play Market or App Store.
Do you intend to have some fee for this application, or it's a free one?
It will. At first, I think it will be a free one.
Okay.
I also have some feedback. Not in this presentation, in my thesis. I managed to get some feedbacks from a lot of people, and they were very happy with the fact that it doesn't need an internet connection for it. So it's a live detection application. It's not a fake one.
Okay, and the last question regarding the training, the algorithm with the pictures.
Okay.
Do you have normal pictures, photos, or synthetic ones?
For the template database, I used some, not pictures, some models for creating the template database to be sure of the distances between the stars. But I also tested, for testing, I also tried with pictures taken by my phone, and it worked.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you also.
Thank you so much for this inspiring presentation. We'll go now to the next presentation, Optimizing Environmental Intelligence in an Internet of System for Sustainable Health Monitoring by Ana Maria Comeagă and Iuliana Marin. No? Care? Maria Alexandra Jalbe, Elena Mitrănescu, Laurențiu Tudor, observations regarding industrial air pollution in the northwest area of Bucharest. My mistake.
Good evening, everyone. Please allow me to present my study. Observations regarding industrial air pollution in the northwest area of Bucharest. Air pollution and its impact on the biosphere, as well as on water and soil, is one of mankind's major problems at the beginning of this millennium. Due to favorable air currents and encouraged meteorological conditions, these limits could be increased. Air pollution, where some sources of pollution could be permanent, noxious substances are circumscribed, spread in the industrial emission zone over a distance of 10 to 15 kilometers. In the western area of Bucharest, all pollutants emitted into the air were recorded. The area was chosen for its proximity to a number of potentially polluting objectives for the area, Measurements of ammonia, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, total number of germs and total number of fungus were also performed in the impact pollutions monitoring grid. Measurements were performed out. I'm sorry. Excuse me, please. Measurements performed at the 5 monitoring points: Giulești area, Militar area, Drumul Taberei area, Crângaș area, and Lacul Mori area. And the analysis methods used were those provided by standard 12574. At the sampling point Bucharest-Giulești area, out of 258 samples, the ammonia concentration recorded exceedances in 32 samples with exceedances, especially in July 2023, but the other gases recorded maximum allowed concentrations in most samples. In the Bucharest-Crângaș area, out of 225 samples, the ammonia increased in 24 samples and the hydrogen sulfide increased in 25 samples. At the sampling point Bucharest-Lacul Mori area, out of 157 air samples in 39 samples there were increased of 24.84% in ammonia, and for hydrogen sulfide, 34 samples showed exceedances of the admissible concentration. In Drumul Taberei area, sampling point were also increased in ammonia, thus out 246 samples, 49 had a higher concentration. In Militar area, sampling point, out of 241 samples increased in ammonia were recorded 14 samples and increases in hydrogen sulfide in 15 samples. The data shows that in the Bucharest-Giulești area, out of 214 samples, in more than a third of them, there were increases in concentration, especially in June and July. In Crângaș area, the increasing percentage of the airborne dust limit was 48.74, with most exceedances in samples collected in May and July. The annual average concentration of air pollutants is below the maximum permissible limit according to the standard. The most significant exceedances of air gases were recorded in the Bucharest-Lacul Mori area sampling point, with increases of 24.84% for ammonia and 21.656 for hydrogen sulfate. The amount of particulate matter exceeded in the maximum permissible limits in June and July 2023 due to a lack of precipitation. The highest exceedances were found in the Bucharest-Crângaș area. The observed exceedances can be correlated with periods when vegetation burning took place in the area, as well with periodic reports of unpleasant odor from local residents. The references, and thank you for your attention.
Any questions?
Thank you so much for the awesome presentation. Looking at your findings, and then you zoom into the future, the current practices around, and then you take your eyes into policy. Is there anything that policymakers need to be considerate of, looking at the direction we are headed to with the current findings, and then you try to project into the future? You know, I don't know if you're getting my point, but I'm just trying to say there are policymakers, these are your findings, there's the future. What do you make of that? What do policymakers have to take home to ensure that we live in a sustainable environment in the future?
Thank you for your question. The policies is in Romanian legislation, and some of them are not really respected. This is why these measurements was higher than the limit of exceedances. And
in terms of the enforcement of the policies, I mean, because based on the findings, thank you. Based on the findings, you want to make a strong recommendation to the public. And like you are saying that some of the policies are not being followed. So what can you say to policymakers? Because to a certain degree, to manage a human being, enforcement of certain stuff must come in. Yesterday, we were looking into issues of forestry. You know, these are critical topics of discussion. So based on your results, let's say I'm sitting here and I'm a policymaker, what message would you give to me? Based on your results, you are looking into the future. There's danger looming ahead of us, you see. Sure, thank you.
Okay. Be more strict about the regulation in the specific policies which affects the excuse me, wait a second.
Probably the thing would be, maybe you get a space where you can possibly share the findings with policymakers. I don't know how, but Anna is here. They could guide on how best to share this, because if these academic findings are not shared around, especially this kind of findings with policymakers, we can just be circulating the information around ourselves, conscientizing each other, but those that really sit with powers to make changes are out there. Yeah, thank you.
I understand. Da, știu, dar nu pot să-mi găsesc cuvintele, aia e problema. Da? Serios? Okay.
I will be the translator, please.
Respirăm același aer. Aici? Oh, fuck.
I'll be the translator, but you can speak in Romania also.
Cu toții respirăm același aer, însă cel mai bine și cel mai bine pentru viitor și ca lumea să audă cumva, adică de fapt cei care reglementează și aprobă aceste legi și politici, să fie mult mai stricți cu privire la tot ce ține de poluare și de emisii de gaz. În general, acest studiu este legat cumva, și sigur s-a auzit și la televizor, de groapa de gunoi din zona Chiajna.
I will translate now.
Thank you.
We are every one of us breathe the same air. We are in the community, so it's important the authorities to be attentive to these major challenges. And in Romania now is an issue with some garbage. Landfill, yes.
Yes.
With very
mai ales că este fix în acea zonă. De asta și studiul este
in that area it's a high pollution garbage problem. Yeah. And it's what are the solution for the authorities?
Soluțiile ar trebui să închidă pur și simplu, să ia niște măsuri stricte, doar că acolo este foarte complicat din cauza unor conflicte de interese.
My colleague said that the solution has in this problem, in this specific problem, to close that area and to be cleaned,
yes.
But there are some political issues, some personal issues, so we have to see how we can do, because we are not the only one that are facing this.
Exact, nu suntem primii și sigur o să mai fie și de obicei cei care stau în zonă se plâng foarte mult de tot ce
the community is very damaged about these issues, so we have to see how to manage the political, personal issues and health. Okay, thank you for your question. It will be a follow-up research for your. Thank you.
Okay, so last but not least, we have a presentation about, let me check, about interconnected environmental challenges, a One Health perspective by Denis Dumitru.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone. This is me, Dumitru Denis, and today I will present you a short presentation about the interconnected environmental challenges that nowadays we are facing. Okay, let's start. The introduction is about the interconnected environmental challenges we face today. We require a holistic approach that considers the interconnections between human health, animal health, and the environment. This approach is known as One Health. One Health recognizes the health of humans, animals, and the environment are interconnected, and that addressing the challenges in one area can have positive impacts on the others. By adopting a One Health approach, we can better understand and address the complex environmental challenges that we could face, and we can better understand and address the complex we face, such as climate change, deforestation, pollution, and emerging infection diseases. In this presentation, we will explore the various interconnecting environmental challenges and discuss the importance of One Health perspective in finding sustainable solutions. Okay, we have two discussions about the collaborations across disciplines. The One Health approach involves collaborations between multiple disciplines such as medicine, veterinary science, environmental science, and public health. By bringing together experts from these fields, we can better understand and address interconnecting environmental challenges. And about the interconnected health, we approach the recognize that the health of humans, animals, and the environment are all interconnected, they are in the same direction. By considering the interactions and dependence between these three components, we can develop holistic strategies to promote health and prevent diseases. Well, as all of us we already know, climate change is a significant environmental challenge that affects our health, animal health, and not at least the environment. It leads to extreme weather events, changes in disease patterns, and habitat loss that all of us, sadly, we are facing some spectacular conditions. And about the biodiversity loss, also it's a significant environmental challenge with far-reaching impacts. First, we'll discuss about the disrupted ecosystems. The biodiversity loss disrupts ecosystems, leading to imbalances in natural processes and the loss of vital ecological services. The spread of diseases, also the same, the loss of the biodiversity can contribute to the spread of diseases, and as it disrupts the natural checks and balances that keep disease vectors in that check. The second part, where we have here the food security. The biodiversity affects the food security by reducing the availability of diverse and resilient food sources. And also we have some problems with the economic things. We can have negative economic impacts, including loss of tourist revenue and increased costs of ecosystem restoration.
Their pollution has detrimental effects on human health, animal health, and environment. It can lead to respiratory diseases and contribute to climate change. Also, about the water pollution, the same effects on human health, animal health, and environmental health. It can lead to water contamination and disrupt ecosystems, as you can see in that picture. Also, the one other effect, emerging infectious diseases pose a significant threat to human and animal health. They can arise from various factors, including changes in land use, wildlife trade, and climate change. And right now, we are looking for the sustainable solutions in order to find the better ways to build the day of tomorrow. We think of the transition to renewable energy sources, such as solar and wind power. It's a key sustainable solution for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating climate change. Also, we can implement conservation measures, such as basic daily basis, reducing water consumption, minimizing waste, and protecting natural habits. It's essential for preserving biodiversity and maintaining ecosystem health. And about the sustainable agriculture, we need to promote at most the sustainable agricultural practices such organic farming, agroforestry, and regenerative farming. Can help reduce the soil degradation, water pollution, and the use of the harmful pesticides while ensuring food security and supporting rural communities in order to buy from them. And the conclusion, the interconnecting environmental challenges require a holistic approach that considers the interconnections between human health, animal health, and the environment. By adopting a One Health perspective and implementing sustainable solutions, we can work towards a healthier and more sustainable food future. Thank you.
If you have questions.
I have a question. Thank you for your presentation, for being here at this hour. What are your proposals for the future, near future, to attack these challenges?
As our humanity, it continues to make some danger to the environment we are living right now. We should think about some measures that we can take as people. We should be more involved in our local communities in order to adopt a new environmental laws that could help us to reduce the pollution that we are having right now. Some recycling processes that we can adopt, like Romanian government adopted right now the rule with the SIGIRI, it's called, like return and receiving a little deposit. I think we should invest more in renewable sources like solar panels, more programs like that. And also we should involve the young community to be more active and to strive with messages in order to be real of what is, of the situation that is happening. And this is the time that we have to act right now, because we don't have too much time left.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we finalized the session about environment, health, and climate changes. It will be a coffee break of 1 hour. But before that, I would like to invite Mr. Vice Rector to tell you what will be in this day, evening.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dan. we conclude another session successfully. So I would like to thank the two moderators for their effort, and also the presenters from the aula and from online. As the program is designed, we will have now coffee break, coffee, tea, fruits, sweets, Romanian cakes. So we will be here at 5:45 o'clock. We have 1 hour. So we have 1 hour break. I thought I didn't understood well. So we will have 1 hour break. So at 5:30 p.m. Romanian time, we will be back here to listen some Christmas carols, but also to learn about some winter special traditions from different countries. We celebrate this evening the St. Nicholas Eve. Tomorrow will be the St. Nicholas, so we have a special celebration tonight. And we will have hopefully the good boys and girls and students and teachers could receive some special gifts. Generally, St. Nicholas brings sweets, but also some wooden sticks, always wooden sticks. Please prepare a pair of shoes, the ones that are here in the aula that are on site. Please prepare a shiny pair of shoes. I have big rubber boots. They are larger, so many presents will stay in.
So I interrupt a little bit. Or image of the shoes can be also, because you have only one perhaps today, an image.
I think you need to prepare a pair of shoes, and we will place them on the stairs here. We will help you with that. Then we will come inside to assist to the presentation. We have, as I mentioned, I think from 8 or 9 countries, different habits for these winter celebrations. And then we will check what St. Nicholas brought us this evening. At 7 o'clock, we have, as it's planned here, a Romanian traditional dinner, and we will taste some typical drinks and food for this season. So thank you so much for the participation. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and we will meet here in a maximum 1 hour. Thank you.